Hello and welcome to a deep dive from SmartBookWorms, where we dive deep into recently released books from authors you love to read. My name is Nathan, your virtual book guru. In today's episode, we'll be diving deep into a deep dive for Karla's Choice by Nick Harkaway, an extraordinary new novel set in the world of John le Carre's most iconic spy, George Smiley, written by acclaimed novelist Nick Harkaway. Today, I'm accompanied by the scholarly virtual book guru, Kris Stopher. So let's dive deep into today's deep dive, Nick Harkaway's Karla's Choice.
Part 1. Espionage as depicted in Karla's Choice. The book depicts espionage as a complex and morally ambiguous world where deception, manipulation, and loyalty are intertwined. Here are some key aspects of espionage highlighted in the novel. The Cold War context. The Cold War serves as a backdrop for much of the espionage activity in the book. This era was characterized by a binary conflict between the Soviet Union and the West, marked by the threat of nuclear annihilation. Espionage in this context was often grim, relentless, and unacknowledged. Secret identities and double lives. Espionage often involves the creation and maintenance of secret identities and double lives. For example, Ferenc Roca lived as Laszlo Banati, a seemingly unassuming literary agent, while secretly working for Soviet intelligence. This duality highlights the theme of deception inherent in espionage. Clandestine networks and training. The novel describes clandestine networks of spies operating across borders, as well as specialized training grounds like the Hotel Tourmalin in Moscow, which served as a training ground for spies. This underscores the secretive and organized nature of espionage. Moral ambiguity. The story raises questions about the morality of espionage, particularly its reliance on manipulation and betrayal. Smiley, a seasoned spymaster, uses Susanna, Roca's unsuspecting assistant, to get closer to Roca, highlighting the ethical complexities involved in espionage. Psychological aspects of espionage. The book also touches upon the psychological toll espionage takes on individuals. Roca, despite being a seasoned spy, exhibits loyalty and protectiveness towards his godson, Leo, and keeps a cherished photograph of a woman and a young boy, suggesting a longing for human connection amidst a world of secrets. Similarly, Munt, a Stasi officer working as a double agent for British intelligence, develops a psychological framework involving an imaginary counterintelligence operative named Gegner to cope with the constant pressure and paranoia of his double life. Espionage as a tool for political power. Espionage is depicted as a tool for political power, with nations vying for secrets and advantage. The book describes the Soviet Union's extensive efforts to gather intelligence and maintain control, highlighting the importance of espionage in shaping political dynamics. The desire to uncover and protect secrets often leads to ruthless actions, as evidenced by the attempted assassination of Roca. The role of technology. Although the book primarily focuses on human intelligence, they acknowledge the increasing role of technology in espionage, such as the use of microphones and recording devices to monitor conversations. This hints at the evolving nature of espionage with technological advancements. The importance of human connection. Despite the pervasive deception and manipulation, the novel ultimately underscores the importance of human connection in the world of espionage. Roca's loyalty to his godson, Smiley's concern for Susanna's well-being, and the clandestine network aiding Susanna and Iron's escape demonstrate that even in this shadowy world, human relationships and compassion can play a significant role.
Part 2. The Soviet Union as Portrayed in Karla's Choice. The book offers a complex and multi-layered portrayal of the Soviet Union during the Cold War, highlighting its internal power struggles, ideological contradictions, and the pervasive reach of its security apparatus. A totalitarian state. The Soviet Union is depicted as a totalitarian state with a powerful and pervasive security apparatus. Espionage and surveillance are integral aspects of its internal and external policies. The book highlights the stifling brutality of the regime, its capricious violence, and its constant efforts to control information and dissent. The regime's grip on society is evident in Frau Moller's description of the youth club, where young people were specifically enjoined by the party to organize themselves, and her limited role was simply to keep the coats and close up. Internal power struggles and purges. The novel reveals a dynamic of internal power struggles and purges within the Soviet system. The mention of an appetite from the high offices of the party to demonstrate the continuing effectiveness of the security apparatus after a period of upheaval and remove certain annoyances which have been present since Stalin's time, suggests ongoing purges and a need to consolidate power. The rivalry between Karla and Pogodin, with Karla methodically dismantling Pogodin's support base within the 13th Directorate, exemplifies these internal power struggles. Ideological contradictions. The book suggests contradictions within the Soviet ideology, particularly the gap between the utopian ideals of communism and the realities of life under Soviet rule. Susanna's observation that in Hungary, everyone is a socialist and no one is, reflects a disillusionment with the promises of communism. Roka's internal conflict, torn between his socialist ideals and his human compassion for his godson, also exemplifies this ideological tension. Espionage as a key instrument of state power. The book emphasizes the importance of espionage as a tool for the Soviet Union to maintain its power and influence. The 13th Directorate, described as specializing in infiltration and deception, plays a crucial role in advancing Soviet interests, both domestically and internationally. The extensive network of Soviet spies operating globally, including Roka in London, highlights the reach and sophistication of Soviet intelligence operations. Ruthless methods and retribution. The Soviet regime is characterized by ruthlessness and a willingness to employ brutal methods to maintain control and silence dissent. The attempted assassination of Roka exemplifies this brutality, as does the casual mention of executions and disappearances as a means of eliminating annoyances. The fear and paranoia within the Soviet system are evident in the account of Hungarian secret police torturing suspects, while aware that they themselves could become victims the next day. A history of oppression. The novel contextualizes the Soviet Union's actions within a broader historical narrative of oppression and foreign interference in Hungary. Connie Sacks's description of Hungary's history as a recurring struggle against outside forces, from the Mongol invasions to Soviet occupation, highlights the country's vulnerability and the enduring impact of external pressures. This historical context helps to explain the pervasive sense of disillusionment and the desire for change among Hungarians. The human cost of Soviet policies. While the book primarily focuses on the machinations of intelligence agencies and political players, they also reveal the human cost of Soviet policies. The account of Bogdan Molchalin's experiences in the Russo-Japanese War, the hardships endured by ordinary soldiers, and the impact of political purges on individuals like Roka and his family, underscore the personal tragedies that unfolded under Soviet rule. The book provides a nuanced and critical perspective on the Soviet Union, portraying it as a complex and often contradictory entity capable of both brutality and idealism.
Part 3. The Cold War in Karla's Choice. Excerpts from Nick Harkaway's novel Karla's Choice depict the Cold War as a shadowy, morally complex conflict that extends far beyond traditional battlefields. The narrative highlights the psychological and emotional toll on individuals caught in the intricate web of espionage and the profound impact of this ideological struggle on nations and personal lives. Espionage as the primary battlefield. The Cold War, in the book, is primarily fought through espionage rather than conventional warfare. Intelligence agencies like Britain's Circus and the Soviet Union's 13th Directorate engage in a constant battle for secrets, using deception, manipulation, and betrayal as their weapons. The recruitment of double agents, the establishment of clandestine networks, and the relentless pursuit of information are central to the conflict. A world divided, the book emphasizes the binary nature of the Cold War, dividing the world into two opposing camps, the West, represented by London and Washington, and the East, embodied by Moscow. This division permeates every aspect of life, from international relations to personal ideologies. Characters are often forced to choose sides, and their allegiances determine their actions and destinies. Threat of nuclear annihilation. The spectre of nuclear annihilation looms large over the narrative, creating a constant undercurrent of tension and fear. The book refers to the Cold War as bounded by the threat of nuclear annihilation, highlighting the potential for global destruction that shaped the conflict. This ever-present danger adds a layer of urgency and gravity to the actions of intelligence agencies and individuals alike. Moral ambiguity and the erosion of values. The Cold War, as portrayed in the book, is a morally ambiguous conflict that blurs the lines between right and wrong. Both sides engage in ethically questionable actions in the name of victory. Smiley, the protagonist, grapples with the moral implications of his actions, questioning whether the West, in its pursuit of defeating the monstrous enemy, has become every bit as monstrous ourselves. This internal conflict reflects a broader theme of the Cold War's corrosive effect on traditional values and moral principles. Psychological warfare and manipulation. The Cold War extends beyond the realm of physical conflict, encompassing psychological warfare and manipulation. Intelligence agencies used as information, propaganda, and psychological pressure to undermine their opponents. Individuals like Munt, the double agent, are subjected to intense scrutiny and psychological manipulation, leading to paranoia and a fractured sense of self. The constant threat of betrayal and the pressure of living double lives take a toll on the mental and emotional well-being of those involved. Personal lives intertwined with global conflict. The book demonstrates how the Cold War infiltrates and disrupts personal lives. Roker's actions are driven by his desire to protect his godson, Leo, while Susanna's involvement stems from her concern for Roker's well-being. The conflict between Karla and Pogodin within the 13th Directorate also has personal dimensions, fueled by ambition, rivalry, and a thirst for power. The Cold War, in this sense, is not merely an abstract geopolitical struggle, but a force that shapes individual choices, relationships, and destinies. A legacy of secrets and unresolved tensions. The book suggests that the Cold War's legacy extends beyond its official end, leaving behind a trail of secrets, unresolved tensions, and lingering consequences. The mention of a room in Moscow where they have the names of all the Nazis they didn't hang hints at the enduring impact of wartime collaborations and betrayals. The continuing rivalry between intelligence agencies and the ongoing pursuit of former spies, like Roker, suggests that the Cold War's shadow continues to influence events even after its formal conclusion. The novel offers a multifaceted view of the Cold War, emphasizing its complexity, its moral ambiguity, and its profound impact on both individuals and nations. The narrative underscores the lasting consequences of this ideological struggle, suggesting that its echoes continue to reverberate long after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Part 4. Hungarian Exile as a Complex Tapestry of Loss and Resilience. Excerpts from Nick Harkaway's Karla's Choice explore the experiences of Hungarian exile during and after the Cold War, portraying it as a multifaceted phenomenon shaped by political upheaval, ideological conflict, and personal trauma. The narrative highlights the enduring impact of exile on individual identities, relationships, and the collective memory of a nation grappling with a turbulent past. Political upheaval and forced displacement. The book underscores how political upheavals in Hungary, particularly the 1956 uprising and subsequent Soviet crackdown, led to the forced displacement of countless Hungarians. Susanna's flight from Hungary in 1956 exemplifies this wave of exile, driven by a desire to escape a system built on lies and control. The novel also mentions the mass exodus of refugees following the 1956 events, suggesting that Susanna's experience was not unique, but part of a broader pattern of displacement and political asylum seeking. Motivations for exile. A spectrum of reasons. The book reveals a spectrum of motivations for Hungarian exile, ranging from political persecution to economic hardship and a yearning for freedom and opportunity. Some individuals, like Roka, were forced to flee due to their political activities or affiliations, becoming targets of the regime's repressive apparatus. Others, like Susanna, chose exile as a means of escaping the oppressive atmosphere and seeking a better life elsewhere. The book suggests that for many Hungarians, exile was not merely a matter of physical relocation, but a profound rupture from their homeland, culture, and identity. Exile as a defining experience. The novel portrays exile as a defining experience that shapes the lives and perspectives of Hungarian characters. Susanna's past as a refugee continues to influence her actions and choices, even years after settling in London. Roka's exile, stemming from his political missteps and betrayal of a friend, weighs heavily on his conscience, driving his actions in the present. The book suggests that exile is not simply a past event, but an ongoing process that shapes individuals' identities, relationships, and worldviews. The Hungarian diaspora, community, and fragmentation. The book alludes to the existence of a Hungarian diaspora in cities like London, providing a sense of community and support for exiles. However, this diaspora is also marked by internal divisions and ideological differences, reflecting the political complexities and historical fault lines within Hungary itself. The mention of various Hungarian émigré groups, such as the Budapest Salvation Committee and Nagy Magyar Hajnal, suggests a diversity of political viewpoints and allegiances within the exile community. The book also highlights the challenges of maintaining cultural identity and connection to the homeland while navigating the complexities of life in a new country. The enduring legacy of exile. The book suggests that the legacy of Hungarian exile extends beyond individual lives, impacting the collective memory and national identity of Hungary itself. The mention of Hungary's turbulent history, marked by repeated foreign interventions and struggles for independence, provides a historical backdrop for understanding the recurring theme of exile. The book implies that the experience of exile, while traumatic and disruptive, has also contributed to a resilient and adaptable Hungarian identity, shaped by a history of displacement and the need to navigate shifting political landscapes. The book, through their exploration of individual stories and historical context, offers a nuanced and insightful perspective on Hungarian exile during the Cold War era. The narrative captures the complexities and enduring consequences of forced displacement, highlighting the resilience and adaptability of Hungarians in the face of political and personal challenges.
Part 5. Smiley's reluctant return to the circus. The book depicts George Smiley's return to the world of espionage as a reluctant and conflicted one, driven by a complex mix of duty, moral obligation, and a lingering sense of responsibility for the consequences of his past actions. The narrative reveals the personal toll that a life in the secret world has taken on Smiley, as well as his enduring commitment to a particular ethical code that sets him apart from the more ruthless and pragmatic players in the Cold War intelligence game. Retirement as an imperfect escape. At the start of the narrative, Smiley is portrayed as having retired from the circus, seeking solace in a life of domesticity with his wife, Anne. He has embraced the daylight world, enjoying simple pleasures and deliberately trying to shed the habits and mindset of a spy. This attempt at a normal life, however, is ultimately short-lived. The book suggests that Smiley's retirement is less a complete break from the world of espionage and more a temporary respite from its relentless demands. The call to duty. Smiley's return to the circus is prompted by a request from Control, his former superior, who summons him back to investigate the disappearance of a Hungarian émigré named Laszlo Urbánati, later revealed to be a Soviet agent operating under the alias Ferenc Roka. Control's appeal to Smiley's sense of duty and obligation is evident in his statement, "He owes us that much," implying that Smiley's past service to the circus has created a continuing debt that he must now repay. Smiley initially resists this call to action, aware of the dangers and moral compromises inherent in the world of espionage. The weight of past actions. Smiley's decision to return is further complicated by the weight of his past actions, particularly his role in the events that led to the death of Alec Lemars, the British agent who was betrayed and killed during a mission in East Berlin. Smiley blames himself for Lemars' death, viewing it as a consequence of his own acquiescence to Control's manipulative tactics and the Circus's willingness to sacrifice its own agents in the pursuit of victory. The book suggests that Smiley's return is partly motivated by a desire to atone for his past mistakes and to demonstrate a more humane and ethical approach to espionage. A clash of ideologies. Smiley's return to the Circus brings him into conflict with Control's more ruthless and pragmatic approach to intelligence gathering. While Control prioritizes results and is willing to use morally questionable methods to achieve them, Smiley emphasizes the importance of ethical boundaries and the need to maintain a distinction between the West and the monstrous enemy it seeks to defeat. This clash of ideologies is evident in their arguments over the handling of the Roker case and Smiley's insistence on a more measured and compassionate approach. Smiley's moral compass. Despite his reservations, Smiley ultimately returns to the Circus, driven by a sense of duty, a desire to protect innocent lives, and a commitment to his own moral compass. He seeks to navigate the treacherous world of espionage while adhering to his own ethical code, prioritizing the well-being of individuals caught in the crossfire and seeking to find a path to resolution that does not require the complete abandonment of moral principles. His actions throughout the narrative demonstrate a belief in the importance of human connection, empathy, and the possibility of redemption, even in the midst of a morally complex and often brutal conflict. Smiley's return to the Circus is not a triumphant comeback, but a reluctant acceptance of a burden he feels compelled to bear. The book portrays his return as a testament to his enduring sense of responsibility, his unwavering moral compass, and his willingness to confront the ethical challenges of a world consumed by Cold War paranoia and intrigue.
And there you have it, Karla's Choice by Nick Harkaway. Have you read it? If so, drop a comment below and let us know what you thought. And if you haven't, does this one sound like a must-read for you? If you enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more book deep dives, and share this video with your fellow book lovers. Until next time on Deep Dive with Smart Bookworms, keep reading, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next one.